As for manipulation of the agenda in Britain, we now have an SNP member of Parliament in Westminster to thank for the latest talking point coming from the it's coming from the Intelligence and Security Committee de facto, because he's one of their members. He represents, it's wrong to say that he represents the SNP there. That's the Herald's spin. Let's bring the piece on screen. The Herald, the Scottish title, has this title, Truth Tsar Calls, which means people want a truth tsar, amid existential threat to democracy, and the existential threat in inverted commas. This is Owen Thompson, quite a young member of Parliament for Midlothian, but was once Scotland's youngest elected councillor. The Herald, although not a nationalist title, spins him as Scotland's voice on the ISC. This is one of the most powerful and secretive committees in Parliament. He says that MPs' disinformation, so parliamentarians saying things off message, is as serious as these actors like Russia that we're all told to be bothered about. He's billed here as SNP Chief Whip until December. There seems to be some kind of job share going on. I'll show details in a moment, because Brendan O'Hara was, last time I looked, including on Wikipedia, was the SNP Whip. But he's now the Whip, which means he keeps the rest of the MPs contingent for the SNP at Westminster in order. He now says there's an existential threat to democracy. Don't they all use that word? And the solution is that there should be a cross-party consensus, Americans would call that bipartisan, to fact-check members of Parliament, punish them, and force them to correct the record. He also says that the so-called archaic idea that you can't call a fellow member a liar on the floor of the House should be scrapped. The SNP have a particular beef, of course, because of a recent statement about migration by a British government minister. And here's the nub of what is completely unconstitutional here. Mr. Thompson says that there is a responsibility, which I argue he's invented from whole cloth, a responsibility on members of Parliament to say, we'll absolutely stick to facts. These would be other people's facts, a commissioner's facts, the right facts, not the wrong facts. The public needs these mechanisms. And the holder of his proposed role could be a truth tsar, an independent fact checker. Just look at the term fact checker in ukcolumn.org to see what the problem is there, or regulator of fact. Whatever the eventual title, it would hold MPs accountable. So if you're wondering just how wrong this is, well, first of all, let's go to Angus MacNeil, one of the SNP MP contingent. He's no longer an SNP MP. He fell out with them this summer and has now been booted out of the party and says they don't care about his Scottish independence. That is worth mentioning because who was the chief whip then, as the Spectator reports? It was Brendan O'Hara, not Owen Thompson. And he was the one who had the bust-up with O'Hara, who seethed, you're a small wee man. So things not looking good there. But the SNP has got establishment enough now to call for MPs not to discharge their fiduciary duty and not to do the very thing we appoint them to. Which is to express opinions and feelings and a sense of justice. That's the very thing they're meant to be there for. We'll have more articles on that in future, of course. It's a major reporting strand of ours. We already have a Dissident's Guide to the Constitution, which goes into this in depth. Go to series from our top menu to see what's going on there. But this is one of the worst things I've heard a parliamentarian ever say at Westminster, and I'm a bit unsurprised that it's an SNP man who should be picked to say it.